Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Wednesday, December 3rd, and we're so glad you're here with us for this month of trust. Yesterday, we discussed how to recognize the voice for fear.
And there's a few things that we wanted to bring up that we've heard from some clients that are confusing them. So let's go back to our working definition. Trust is the willingness to lean into uncertainty with openness instead of control. We're adding on to that trust is a decision to align with love. Yesterday, we were talking about sometimes we get caught in that fear, and Ada and I both gave some examples of how fear shows up for us and the voice for fear. One confusing part seems to be that if we are feeling emotions, we believe we're in fear. And that's not true, because we can come from two different places, fear or love. Love allows life to unfold. Fear brings in contraction. With the examples that Ada and I shared yesterday, I didn't know whether I could be a personal development coach. So then it took me longer to make that decision. Ada didn't know if she could ask for help or didn't think she could ask for help finding the cream of mushroom soup in the grocery aisle.
I have to just add to that really fast.
Okay.
That mirrors so much of my life, and as my mom, you will know this. I struggle asking for help.
You could be experiencing fear in the forms of feeling alone, feeling
Embarrassed,
unsafe, separate, disconnected. So those are feelings that show us that we're in fear. But we can also have feelings. Some people think, well, if we're in love, we're not going to really have feelings at all. That's not true. We can be in love, and it's not just also going to be all the rosy feelings. We can be in love and still feel concerned. We can be coming from that loving place inside of us and still feel hurt. If we're coming from love and we feel hurt, we're going to say to ourselves, gosh, that doesn't feel good. And we can say that without being in fear. Now, if we're feeling the same hurt, but we're coming from fear, we're going to lash out. We're going to try to punish somebody. They hurt me, so now I'm going to hurt them.
We could also blame ourselves.
So that's the difference. And that is very subtle and it's kind of complex. But if we can all get this, what we'll do is we'll figure out that it's okay to feel all the feelings, but it matters where we're coming from. Are we coming from fear with that voice of fear? Or are we coming from love, knowing that we're safe, we're open, we have this inner steadiness inside of us?
And fear carries a sense of separation with it.
Yes, like I can feel hurt, but not feel like I'm all alone in this world. No one's ever going to love me. I'm all by myself. I can just say I feel hurt. End of story. So again, love allows life to unfold. You can think of it as love opens the heart through vulnerability. Fear contracts. You can think of that as fear closes the heart. So if I feel hurt, we'll just go with that again. If I feel hurt, I can open myself up and open my heart up through vulnerability and share my hurt. Or I can feel hurt, but I can close my heart and then want to attack back. Love supports courage. Love supports curiosity. Love supports vulnerability, and fear keeps us stuck. Fear contracts.
Another way we can phrase fear contracts, fear makes our world small. When I'm coming from fear, I'm cut off from other people. Or when other people are in fear, they get more cut off from me. Our worlds become tiny. And when our world is tiny and we're cut off from other people, we aren't going to trust because we're coming from fear. And people can say, well, I'm not in fear. And you and I, we've heard this, Annette. People say, well, I'm not afraid. It's not about whether you're afraid or scared, as you would think about an emotion. Like if you walk down a dark alley or you're at night and you hear a loud crash in your house.
Fear isn't shaken in your boots, fear.
No, it's not.
Fear is guilt.
It's shame, it's embarrassment, and it's any unconscious or conscious way that we show up in the world to try to manage a sense of separation that we feel from the best version of ourselves and from other people. Fear isn't necessarily about emotions. It's what is driving us and motivating us in life. Are we more towards disconnection from others? Are we more towards isolation? Are we going towards anger and hate and other experiences like that? Or is how we're feeling pushing us towards what we call love, where there is more connection? We have that trust that life is unfolding in a way that will serve and support us. Now, I know what people are going to say. What do you do with the tragedies? I'm not one who thinks that, well, everything's just going to turn out all rosy if you're following love and letting things unfold. Annette, you and I have had our own tragedies in our lives, right?
We sure have.
What I see and what I've experienced is it's not like we're all predestined and everything's just going to turn out A-okay. But when I'm coming from this space of love that's within me, even within the tragedies, I will know what to do. I will know maybe I need to go to therapy. Maybe I need to find support and get my own coach. Maybe I need to get a massage or go see a doctor. Like love will guide me in the direction of healing when I'm in a tragedy.
An example that I have from my life is, you are going to remember this, Ada, because I was afraid for years after this.
I think I know what this is.
Okay, so I did go into fear afterwards, but I had this experience where you were in a car accident years ago, and you called me even though I wasn't there, so I didn't know how badly you were hurt. I didn't know all the details. I just heard, Mom, I've been in an accident. I had this experience right at that moment where I turned it over to love. That's the only way I can say. I knew that I couldn't control the situation. I knew in that instant that I couldn't support you if I got all worked up myself. So I turned it over to love. And I don't really know how I did that. That stands out for me in my mind, an example from my life of what we're talking about. Now, I will also say that I let fear then come in and get the best of me afterwards. And every time you'd get in your car, I would worry that you weren't going to come home or there's something's going to happen. So the same situation, one, the initial part is I did give you to love, and I knew that I couldn't control it. There's nothing I could do. And I did have that inner steadiness that we're talking about. But then afterwards, I went into fear and I tried to control. I mean, I can't even remember where I would say, oh, I could. This was back when you were in high school. I could ask her to pick up something from the store, but I don't want anything to happen to her, so I should go. See, that's me controlling. And that's where I wasn't able to allow love to come in. I was consumed by the fear for years, actually.
I remember if you knew I was driving, if I were to call you, and I don't call people on the phone while I'm driving because I'm not safe, y'all, unless you can do it hands-free. the first words you would say, "Are you okay?"
Right.
You wouldn't even say hello. You just say, "Are you okay?"
Yes. And then if you were out with your friends and you were coming home later, I really couldn't sleep very well until I knew that you were home. Those two different experiences around the same issue show me how that voice of fear can come in and get me off track. And then that same situation, I can turn it over to love and be vulnerable and to be willing to trust. I don't know how it's all going to occur, but I trust that however it does occur, I'm going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, you'll be strong enough to see it through.
Yes. So what the point that you're making, I think, here is it doesn't mean that if you turn something over to love, that the flowers are going to be blooming and the birds are going to be singing forever and ever and ever. No, stuff still happens. But it's the orientation from which you're coming. Are you coming from fear or are you coming from love?
That's right. Today we're going to have a curiosity question. When I choose love, what changes in how I see the same situation? When I choose love, what changes in how I see the same situation? Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.